Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning, early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum here with a wonderful story to share with you today. So, some nice deep breaths just to settle ourselves into the moment. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Just keep breathing deeply and easily, drawing in all that you choose and releasing anything that no longer serves you. Every inhale, bringing in healing golden light, and every exhale, releasing anything that does not serve you. Good morning, Cindy. Welcome. You're the first one popping on today. And the chapter I'm going to read you fits with what I just said very well. Good morning, Peggy. Good morning, Gwen. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. Someone has been outside working since like 5 o'clock this morning. It looks like street sweeperish kind of, but I don't think it's a city. Good morning, Peg. Glad you're here. I actually think no news from Carolyn yet. We'll see if how she's feeling and if she maybe even pops on. We'll see. But they're cleaning up the street. It is pitch dark out. Pitch dark. Whatever. I think they lost 3 days of work due to the snow. And I went to Green Bay yesterday and there was nothing on the ground. Nothing. And here we were with our however many inches of yuck. So, bad attitude. Got to adjust that at this point in time because it's going to be a long winter otherwise. So, yesterday, I got to give a little backstory on today's reading. Yesterday, two things. I was thinking about my Black Friday specials that have been posted on my Facebook page, and I'm sending out some emails to let people know that I have my coaching specials for Black Friday, and I also have my new Lightening Your Load clutter-clearing course, audio course, on special, and wondering, okay, how can I get the word out more? How can I help people know that this cool stuff is out there, and maybe they're ready for a change, and yada, yada, yada. So that kind of went through my mind and then floated on out as everything does. And I was also talking to a client yesterday on a Zoom call. Good morning, Lucy. Welcome. Glad you are here. And I was trying to find a particular story in Outrageous Openness. I knew it was in there, but I didn't want to spend a whole lot of the session trying to find it. But in the end, I gave up and I made the pitch for that particular story as best I could remember it. And today when I was muscle testing and it came up that Outrageous Openness was what we were meant to do today, I wondered if that story was actually going to be the one that came up. And it was not, but it was right close to that story. So I actually did find the story I was looking for a day late. But that's okay. So Outrageous Openness, Letting the Divine Take the Lead by Tosha Silver. And our chapter is called The Energy Vacuum. So if you just want to breathe deeply and easily, I want you to imagine spinning your crown chakra open to receive healing golden light, spinning your heart chakra open to receive whatever part of this message is for you, spinning solar plexus open so that you have the power, the energy, the drive to do whatever you need to do with this little bit of information. So the chapter's called The Energy Vacuum. It's on page 101 for those of you who have the book. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Cindy. That's funny. All right, so the quotes, there's two of them. Aristotle, nature abhors a vacuum. In other words, if we've made space, something's going to come in. Something is going to come in. And then in the United States, stuff is alive, but the people, not so much. That's by Maria, Tosha Silver's Mexican friend. Pretty clear observation there, isn't it? The stuff is alive, but the people, not so much. Time for us to wake up. So here's the chapter. And don't worry about me saying chapter. It's a little over 2 pages. No biggie. When I teach classes in Divine Order, I usually suggest everyone spend the first 3 weeks cleaning out their homes and their cars even their purses and wallets. When people let go of their clutter, the spiritual work can deeply penetrate. In fact, I discovered in the early years of teaching that divine order simply didn't have room to fully enter until people made space. When they let go of what they didn't need, what they did could finally arrive. So each person would create an intentional vacuum. That's kind of what we do when I say we're opening up space for whatever is necessary to flow in. That's creating that intentional vacuum. I remember Gina, a double cancer, who was a serious pack rat. Every corner of her studio apartment had dusty towers of old magazines. Her closets were brimming with unworn clothes, her drawers with crumpled bills and letters, but the thought of decluttering filled her with such dread that she almost dropped out of the group, which is why I taught the clutter-clearing class, Lightening Your Load, in the first place, because I knew, having worked with a bazillion clients, that people struggled to do it on their own. But when they had the support, when it was taken in little bites, and when they had the support of others, they could do so, and they could maintain it. So since it's been, a year and a half, 2 years since I taught that course, that's now been repurposed. Good morning, Leslie. Glad you are here. What I've found is people will periodically pop back onto the private Facebook group and talk about having used part of the course again. So it's a gift that keeps giving when you give it to yourself. Good morning, Judy. Glad you are here. So let's see what happened with Gina, who had all the stuff in her house and almost dropped out of the group because addressing it was too much. She bravely persevered, however, calling upon the divine for assistance. She prayed to be shown what to release and what to keep. If she had relied on her ego to make the decision, she'd probably still have every moldy scrap. Amen. Truth to that. The idea of letting go gave her actual panic attacks, even though she was practically entombed in her own home. And what I've found is oftentimes that stuff is more than stuff. We have our excuses for why we keep it. What if I need it later? It's an heirloom. It's worth a lot of money. I paid a lot for it. Blah, 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 blah. I might need it someday. But if you dig underneath there is always something else. My clutter grounds me. It keeps me solid. My clutter protects me. I kind of envelop myself in it. My clutter orients me to right here, right now. Whatever it does, it serves some other purpose than all that stuff we say it does. So, by the end of the class, years of old stagnant energy had been cleared. Some friends volunteered to haul away 3 full trucks of junk for her. She was amazed how much help came once she was willing to go for it. Now here's the thing with that. How many people have made the error, and how many of those television shows have you watched where others come in and clear someone's clutter and that person isn't all that excited about it, and there's no work done on these underlying reasons why that clutter was there in the first place? Guess what? Give it 6 months and it's all back. Because you didn't address the issue. You didn't address the issue. So for me, clutter was about grounding. Clutter was about keeping me from flying off into the ethers. It was the same thing as my friend Kayleen, whose son, when he was little, would put rocks and books in his backpack, making this really heavy backpack for this little kid. But he was grounding himself. That's what he was doing. When we figure out what that is, then we can address it appropriately. So if you think it's just junk, it's just clutter, and it's about security. There you go. You got it. So then we need to take a look at, kindly and lovingly, what other ways do I have to feel secure? For me, it was, what other ways do I have to ground myself? I have a plethora of tools to ground myself. I didn't need this old stuff anymore. But until I had the conscious thought that that's what it was, I really couldn't address it successfully. I had to figure out, what was this about for me? And again, that's what the course does. It helps walk you through deeper and deeper layers of what is this? Why is there all this stuff around? Why do I have this penchant to hang on to this stuff? So yes, for Cindy, if it's about security, what other ways do I have to make myself secure? How can I build security? Once you have that, and again, realize, like for me, the grounding stuff, I have used clutter since I was 9 years old to ground myself. What I've learned that's new is not going to be my default go-to yet. This takes practice. So when I realize clutter's starting to creep in again, okay, I must be needing grounding. So if I need grounding, what other tools am I going to use? Okay, I'm going to do some tapping. I'm going to do some breathing. I'm going to do some journaling. I'm going to do some EMDR, some Psych K, whatever, and work my way through groundedness. I like guided imagery too, imagining my roots going down into Mother Earth. Grounding. Images of trees. I like looking at trees because to me, trees are like the ultimate of grounded and reaching for the heavens. You got it all, right? In one package. One deciduous package. So, again, figuring out what is this really about. Good morning, Carolyn. Welcome. Glad you are here. How are you doing? Can you give us a thumbnail sketch of how you're hanging in there? We're so glad you're here. Welcome. So, let's go back here. She cleared the energy. Let's see what happened. Now, this woman's work and love life had been frozen for so long it was like a cadaver. But soon a stimulating new job arrived, and an old girlfriend she still loved returned. An amazing event. Gina even resumed exercising, which she had stopped many years before. She called me one night, ecstatic. Oh, I get it now. How could the good even have gotten in the front door? It was blocked by all the garbage. Yes. I remember another woman who had an exquisite, rare Turkish carpet left behind by her ex-husband. Despite its beauty, it haunted her every day with memories of their tortured marriage. She would constantly fume. All I got from that rotten bastard was this frickin' rug. I laughed and suggested she let it go. When it finally sold at an auction, she became almost immediately infused with an inexplicable buoyancy. She took the money and went for a week to Hawaii. She couldn't believe she'd kept that beautiful, wretched thing for so long, next to her bed, of all places. Think about the stuff that you keep. What is it that you get hooked on? I have a friend whose husband still has every pizza delivery ticket from the pizzas he delivered when he was in high school. Fabulous. Surgery went good, not much pain. Yes. Awesome. So glad to hear it. We're all still sending you great juju, girl. This is good. So glad you made it on this morning. That's fabulous. So now she's going to talk about her own clutter clearing. Yes, Tosha Silver had clutter. Let's talk about the kind of clutter because I think it's kind of hilarious. She's a hoot. I constantly clear my own space out. Yet I have to admit, releasing my archaic Seinfeld videos brought a pang or two. But I think I knew every one by heart anyway. Sometimes when I sat down to meditate, that part where Jerry and Kramer put cement in their washing machine would still play in my mind all these years later. So obviously they'd already amply served their higher spiritual purpose. Did you ever think about that, Seinfeld having a spiritual purpose? And if I could release old Seinfeld, you can let go of anything. You don't have to release anything you love, use, or need. Just the rest of it. Your intuition will show you. Finally, if you're having a particularly knotty dilemma, you can offer the cleaning to its resolution. Recently, I was stuck in some old fear and anger, so I simply went into the kitchen and found a messy drawer. I offered its rehabilitation to the divine, affirming that as the drawer was sorted, so would I be. A half hour later, I was free. I've had many clients who've used this kind of a thing. One of the most beautiful ones was by a friend of mine named Mary, who had a very painful childhood, had a very upheaval life, etc. And she went for a walk and found this old caned chair, the seats were caned, thrown in the garbage. So she took it home and she decided to take it all apart. Good morning, Betty. Glad you are here. Put it all back together, stain it, recane the seat, etc., etc. And her mindset was, as I rehab this chair, I am rehabbing myself. So we can do that. We can set intentions for any task that we have. You like that part? That's awesome. You don't have to release anything you use, love, or need. Just the rest of it. Just the rest of it. Your intuition will show you. In the course, one of the things that I teach is a process that Denise Lynn often uses, which is you pick up something. So let me find something here. I'm just going to pick them up. You pick up something, you hold it in your hand. You take some time. You infuse it with your energy. Pour your energy into it and receive energy from it. And just spend a little bit of time with that energetic exchange, pouring energy into it, receiving energy from it. Then you check in with your own energy level. What has happened? Has your energy depleted? It's time for that thing to go. Has your energy increased? Probably keep that item. It's a lovely way to evaluate, is this something that I need to let go of? So, last little part here. You use the external form you clean as a template for your inner psyche, and you elevate a seemingly mundane chore into a most holy offering. I love that. I am not someone who gets excited about doing housework. That's not my gig. You do it because you got to do it. But when you do this, I'm going to dust the house. And as I dust the house, I'm dusting off all of my old archaic ideas that are keeping me stuck, and I'm clearing them out. So when I go out on the porch and I shake out the feather duster, I'm shaking out that old, dusty, archaic thought process that does not serve me anymore. Can you see how, as you do your entire house, like one that's lurking on my radar screen, or as my sister would say, is lining up in my crosshairs, is clearing out my file cabinet. I just had the thought last night, I need to contact the woman who bought my clinic and ask her if she has indeed shredded all of my past charts. By now I've been gone long enough, they all should be shredded. I just want to follow up with her and make sure that they all have been, instead of sitting there in the clinic in a file drawer. So think about this. What in your life would you like to clear? Maybe you haven't cleaned your car out in years. Okay? Today's going to be nice and warm. Pushing 50. What a better day than to clean out the interior of your car. You can even break it down smaller. I'm going to do the glove box, or I'm going to do the passenger back seat footwell. Pick a little part and do that. And then when you've done it, yay you! Celebrate, 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 okay? In short order, you can do this with other people too. So yesterday, my sister and I kind of did that. She was clearing out clothes for a wonderful mission out of Madison, Wisconsin. It's a woman named Miss Carly, and Miss Carly has a mission to serve people who are experiencing homelessness, who are food deprived, who are struggling with addiction, etc. So Vicky went through her house and pulled out bags of clothes and boots and coats and mittens and hats and socks, and I think she ended up with 20 pairs of socks she's going to donate to Miss Carly. So I thought, let's see what I can come up with. So I've got a pair of hiking boots, I've got a jacket, and what else did I got? I've got a couple things sitting here that when I go down to see Vicky on Saturday, that's tomorrow already, I'm going to take that stuff along and she can donate it to Miss Carly's mission. What about for you? What's ready to be blessed on its way? What's ready to serve in a different way? If you still have baby equipment sitting around waiting for grandchildren to show up, get rid of that stuff. If you haven't used it and there aren't grandchildren on the horizon, get rid of it. A lot of that stuff needs to be recycled anyway because the standards for what we can use for babies have changed. Don't pinch their little heads in that old bed. Let's do something different, okay? What can you part with? What needs to go? Here's one of the questions I asked in the course that kind of made everybody's toes curl. What are you most avoiding getting rid of? Well, for me, it's books. I love my books. I adore my books. That's the hardest thing for me to get rid of. But you got to take a look at that. You've got to take a look at that. What's the hardest thing? What are you avoiding getting rid of? And then do some journaling on why am I avoiding getting rid of this? I want to keep this because, I want to keep this because, I want to keep this because. It would be good to get rid of this because, it would be good to get rid of this because. Just work with it. Yep, another book person. Yep. I'm sorry, it ain't the same on a Kindle. However, there are many books that I've read or I didn't even get all the way through. And it's like, it didn't do anything for me. It can go. It can go. So I can add some books and creative memory stuff. Yes, I'm a sucker for that too. I actually bequeathed the albums to my daughter, but I've still got bins of equipment. So if there's books that you've read and they didn't really move you, or there's books that you think you ought to read in order to be a literary genius, if they're not moving you, move them on. Move them on. All right? So let's see. There's 7 of you on here and me. Put something in the feed that you're willing to part with today. You're going to recycle. You're going to donate. You're going to bless to someone else you know would love it. Blah, blah, blah. Last ditch effort, you're going to throw it out. We want to keep as much of this stuff out of the landfill as possible. But what other options do you have for this particular item? All right? Go forth and conquer. We can do this. Remember, we're capable of far more than we think we are. So, and if you're interested in the Lightening Your Load special, I'll put the link for it in the feed here today, just because it's really a cool program. It became much more than I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to be clearing clutter, yes, and doing some emotional work. I had no idea how deep people were going to dive. So, have an awesome Friday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye. Good job, Gwen. Good job. Yes, get rid of the winter clothes. Yes, yes, yes. On a roll here, guys. Bye-bye.